Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Above the Rim Rundown, where we run down all things NBA. I am one of your hosts, Memo, and right beside me, I've got Hoops. How you doing?
What's going on, man? I would say overall it's been a pretty good week. For several reasons, including the turnout results of the NBA playoffs, which we will talk about shortly. But yeah, overall I have been doing good. How have you been doing, man?
This week has been there's been like a lot of ups and downs. Not gonna lie. Um, I guess one of the downsides of this week is I got my first ticket like ever. Um, it's stupid. I parked like when I went to work, like I think last Friday. I parked somewhere where I shouldn't be because apparently they did like uh, a street sweeping on every second and fourth Friday of the month, and I guess since last Friday was the second Friday, I wasn't supposed to park there, and I didn't know. I didn't see the sign, so now I have to give give up $50 because of that.
Oh,
So
fuck. Damn it.
that sucks. But I have amazing news if you've been following the podcast. I haven't told you yet, but I'm excited to tell you right now that I just got accepted to the Fullerton Masters program that I was talking about earlier this year. Like I'm so relieved. Like I was confident until the interview. When I did the interview, I felt a lot less confident, but I'm glad that I was able to get in, and I ended up paying the acceptance fee, so it's official. Now I'm in, and I'll be back to school this upcoming fall, which the school part I'm not excited for. There's a lot of things I'm worried about in regards to like trying to make money while I'm working at schools and stuff like that, and just continuing my studies. But I guess I'll just figure that out when I get there.
Yes, sir. Congrats, my man.
Thank you.
And um I am confident that you will make it a good academic run and then hopefully a good job career after that.
Yeah, that's the goal because I don't know why, but I've been getting a lot of IG reels on uh, like local homes and apartments and stuff like that, and like how much they're worth and stuff. And like now I'm at the mindset where like I really want to have my own place and have a nice place, and be tough with the job I'm trying to get to be able to get like the nicest of homes, but having like a little humble place of my own will be nice too. And the only way I could really get that done is if I start my career, which will happen soon. I got one last step, and that's this master's program, and then I should be set for a career in education. So that's exciting. And what else is exciting is this playoffs. This has been an insane playoffs. We talked about this last week, how this might be one of the best playoffs since I said 2020s. If I don't know if anybody else argued for a better playoffs. Uh, I guess after the 2020s, but I feel like 2020s is like the last most exciting playoff run, and we are gonna cover this week's games. Basically, there are several series that are over. Actually, most of them are over. The only one we're waiting for is this first matchup that we are going to talk about, which is the Nuggets versus the Thunder. They are going to Game 7, baby! And yeah, this is definitely one of the, well, by far the most entertaining series, right? Uh, there has been no injuries, so, that definitely affected the other series and made them a lot shorter than we were all hoping. But yeah, with that said, this is an exciting series, a very surprising one at that too. I was saying, I think we both said OKC was gonna win the series in six, and now like I don't even know if they'll win Game 7, even though they're at home. But Yeah, well, let's do the breakdown of each game before we talk about our predictions of Game 7. And Hoops, can you start off with Game 4 for us, please?
Yeah. So to start, I guess feeding off the injury-free comment, I would say I think it was pretty accurate until if I'm not mistaken, I think Aaron Gordon got hurt in the last game.
Yeah, that was announced today that he has like a hamstring
Yeah.
injury and he's doubtful.
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah, I
officially
think
he's
it's
out?
I think it's
I think
maybe official. I mean, I've been hearing that it's very unlikely he's gonna play.
that
So
that's a
maybe
big
doubtful.
loss.
Yeah. So like low key, OKC might have the edge because of that, but you never know though. Um, yeah. I will say that is bad timing that it had to happen during game 7. Like they literally went the full distance and then the key guy gets injured. But anyways, I think it could still be like a pretty good game, hopefully, so we'll see what happens there. But starting off with game 4 in Denver, which at this point the Nuggets were up 2-1. So this was pretty much a must-win scenario for OKC, and it started out pretty good. They first off, it was a really low-scoring first quarter, a combined 25 points in the first quarter, which is the tied for fewest in NBA playoff history. OKC outscoring Denver 17-8, which is insane that neither team even reached 20. And then the Nuggets didn't even reach 10. So that was insane. Um, but yeah, Thunder starting the game good. They led by as much as 15 in the second quarter, I believe it was. But then the third quarter, the Nuggets just completely took over. They outscored the Thunder 33-21 in the third, and they were able to take a lead of themselves. And they were even up by 8 points at one point. So then came a huge fourth quarter for the Thunder. They outscored the Nuggets 29-18, which is practically the inverse of the third quarter. And at the end, ultimately, OKC was able to pull away with a very crucial 92-87 win to tie the series at 2 games apiece, with the series heading back to OKC for Game 5. So this was a pretty good, entertaining game. It started off pretty defensive oriented, and at the end, I would say still a lot of good defense. The offense picked up a little bit. OKC needed to win this game, and they found a way to grind out the victory. So shout out to them for tying the series 2-2 at this point in time. So, Memo, anything you would like to add on for Game 4 between Thunder and Nuggets?
Well, yeah, I thought it was almost a little surprising that they ended up winning, seeing that their second best player, their second All Star, J Dub, was asked. He was 2 for 13. Dort was 2 for 10. What really helped the Thunder was the bench contributions. Caruso had 10 off the bench. Wiggins and Wallace both had 10 off the bench, while and others contributed as well. While Denver, they only had a total of 6 bench points. Russell Westbrook had those 6 points. He also had 6 fouls. He fouled out in this game. And not only that, Michael Porter Jr., their starter, has been horrible this entire series, including this game where he only had 3 points. So that's very disappointing. Even Jokic, for his standards, had a very disappointing game. Yeah, he had 27, 13 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 was it steals? I forgot. Either way, like on paper, it looked good. But he was 7 for 22 in this game. And if we focus on the 3-game run from Game 2, Game 3, and Game 4, in those 3 games, Jokic shot less than 40% from the field, which is the first time he did that this entire series. Or, no, not series, season. This entire season, he never had a 3-game stretch shooting that poorly before. But the OKC defense really had a huge effect on him and basically the entire team. I just talked about how Michael Porter Jr. was ass. It's a big, well, a part of the reason why is just because he's ass in general, but the other part of the reason is because of his great defense. So yeah, great game for the Thunder. They really needed this one in order to avoid being down 3-1, right? They were 2-1 before this. So if they were 3-1, that would have been a huge hill to climb over. But they were able to win this one. And yeah, now we can move on to game 5, which was another impressive win for the Thunder.
Yeah, it was. So first off, first half was really close. Um, Matter of fact, a little bit of an interesting stat was that the Nuggets outscored the Thunder an identical 28-27 in both the first and the second quarter. So yeah, a little bit of a crazy stat there. And so Denver was only up by 2 at halftime. Um, Third quarter, Denver was able to take control most of the time. The quarter, they outscored OKC by 6, and at one point the Nuggets were up by 12. But it was in the fourth quarter that OKC was able to make their comeback, and it was in large part due to the Nuggets' poor shooting in the fourth quarter. They went a ridiculous I believe it was like a 7-minute stretch without making a field goal. Like
You're right,
the
yeah.
Nuggets scored, yeah, the Nuggets like scored some points via free throws. Like Joker made a shot at like the 10-minute mark, and then they did not make another shot until Joker made a 2-pointer at the 3-minute mark. Fortunate for them, the game was still close at that time, so it was going down to the wire. But the fact that the reason why they lost their lead was because they couldn't buy a basket. And so then ultimately OKC took full advantage. 2:23 left in the game. It was tied after Joker made that second basket. Then Shea hits a step back jumper and gets fouled by Jamal Murray. Makes the and one, and OKC goes up 3. And following possession for the Nuggets, Joker hits that ridiculous 3. Like, it reminds me of those crazy shots he was making against the Lakers in 2023 when AD was guarding him really good and yet somehow still shoots over him and drains it.
It was
Man, Joker
literally
is just
the meme of great defense for 23.5 seconds, and then Jokic still gets it up and makes it. But yeah, as us Lakers fans know, those threes from Jokic where he played the best defense possible and he still makes it is heart wrenching. Just tough, tough
yeah,
to experience.
tough luck indeed. Anyways, following up that Joker 3, OKC gets the ball and J-Dub makes a 3 to put OKC back up 3. And following possession, Michael Porter Jr. misses a 3. Nuggets get the ball. Thunder get the ball, and then Shea makes a 3. So now at this point, OKC is up by 6. Following possession, the Nuggets once again can't get a basket, and so OKC or Nuggets have to foul. Shea makes 2 free throws. It's an 8-point game. Practically, Jamal Murray makes a just in a way you can think of it as a garbage time basket because they were already down by 8 with like only 17 seconds left. So then they foul anyway. Jada makes 1 or 2 free throws. Doesn't matter. Nuggets did not have enough time. And OKC was able to pull off a nice come from behind win to take a 3-2 series lead with a chance to close the series in Denver game 6. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, this was a little bit of a crazy game in terms of like momentum shifts. Because it seemed like Denver really had control of the game for a while, and it looked like they were gonna pull the game 5 road upset. But it was not meant to be at the end, as OKC was able to make a run in the fourth, and the Nuggets just couldn't buy a basket. So, what were your thoughts on Game 5 of this series?
Well, definitely like focusing on those 7 minutes where they couldn't score, right? I believe a big reason why they weren't able to score is because they were tired. I believe all five players that started in the fourth didn't rest at all in the fourth quarter for the Nuggets. I'm talking about for sure Jokic. For sure Jokic played the entire quarter. And apparently there's this stat going around where it says that the last three of their four games, when Jokic doesn't rest in the fourth quarter, they ended up losing those games. So clearly Jokic needs his rest in the fourth quarter, even though was like basically the only one that kind of did something. And in the fourth, he had 13 points, while the rest of the team had only 6 points. They made 1 of 15 baskets in the fourth and 0 for 10 from 3. While Jokic, again, scored 13, 4 for 6 from the field, 1 of 2 for 3 from 3. So Jokic was able to help a bit, but again, that stretch where they couldn't score a bucket, it was clearly because they were too tired to continue. So I think this is something that the coach talked about and was able to fix in the next game. I believe they had rest in the fourth. I don't remember anymore. But yeah, unfortunate loss for the Nuggets because the stars came through. Jokic, 44 points, 15 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals. Murray, 28 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Great Jokic Murray game. Classic playoff performances for both of them. But unfortunately, it was not enough. And Shea, with 31 points, 6 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, 2 steals, was able to lead the team to a victory. And yeah, they were down in the series. It was Nuggets 2-1 at one point, but now it's Thunder 3-2 at this point. And they had an opportunity to end the series in Game 6, but unfortunately for the Thunder, the Nuggets were able to force Game 7. Hoops, would you like to talk about Game 6?
Yes, sir. So, Game 6, OKC started the game off strong. They led by as much as 12 late in the second, and it looked like they were en route to close the series. Unfortunately for them, it just was not meant to be because the Nuggets went on a crazy run in the second half. In the third quarter, the Nuggets outscored the Thunder 32-21, and at one point they went up by as much as 16. Ultimately, they just had much more energy in the second half than OKC did. OKC just didn't really show up well that game in the second half after they looked relatively good in the first half. J-Dub was not cutting it that game. He only put up 6 points on 3 of 16 shooting and 0 for 4 from 3. So, yeah, that's not good. Anyways, Shea did his job per usual, 32 points. Chet put up 19 points. Lou Dort put up 10, and Caruso, shout out Caruso, also put up 10 points. But for Denver, they just had much better balance. Joker put up 29, Jamal put up 25, Christian Brown put up 23. Julian Throsser, I had no idea that he was like getting rotational minutes, but he had a nice game. He put up 15. And then Michael Porter Jr. put up 10. Russ put up 8. So, the Nuggets definitely had a lot better balance in scoring and contribution, which is why they were able to pull off this very important win to keep their season alive and setting themselves up for a Game 7 on Saturday. So that should be fun. Anyways, what are your thoughts on this Game 6? Because I actually didn't get to watch this game. I was like tracking the score, and I was shocked when I saw the end change, like how OKC was dominating the first half, and then Denver just completely switched the script in a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, first off, I just want to give the biggest shout out to Jamal Murray, who had an impressive game, 25, 8, and 7, while being sick. This is his flu game. Jamal Murray was out there playing like MJ, and he really came through for the team. And as you said, Strawford as well. Like, you were surprised he was having minutes in general, because he barely has played. He's only played how many games has only 7 games in the playoffs this year, and in those 7 games he scored a total of 17 points, while in this game alone he had 15. He was huge in the second half. I think scored all 15 of his points in the second half, and definitely helped balloon that lead in order to help the Nuggets pull off this victory. So yeah, shout out to him. It was basically the Strawford game, if you want to look at it, the Murray flu game, if you want to look at it like that. But if we want to stay negative, we could talk about J Dub. A lot of people on Twitter were saying that we need to remove the Dub out of his name and just call him J until he starts winning and playing good basketball. Because right now he's not playing like J Dub; he's playing like JL. Like this is not a good performance by him. And you know, he was someone I was looking at before the playoffs started. I remember last year he had a very disappointing playoff run, especially in the second round where they got bounced and Shea was trying his best to carry, but nobody else were able to help him. I believe in the play-in tournament this year he was kind of disappointing as well. So I was wondering if he would come through in this playoffs, knowing that he is a better player on both ends of the floor, knowing that he became an all-star this year. Would he become the Robin to Shea's Batman and come through when they need him the most? And like, this is just another disappointing game from him. He is an all-star. He is the second leading scorer for this team. He shouldn't be having 6 points, 3 of 16 shooting. That is very disappointing. I know he's still young, but still, like seeing how much he's grown this year, just to see him go back to where he was last year in the playoffs is very disappointing to see. So, yeah, right now he is not proving me wrong whatsoever. He is looking like J-Dub from last year, and he really needs to come through in the next game, which we could try to predict, I guess. Like, now knowing that Aaron Gordon is for sure injured, he's doubtful to play this upcoming game, but like, even if he does play, he's not going to be 100%. So that would mean that OKC needs to take advantage of that. They need to take advantage. That would also mean that J-Dub needs to have a great game as well. If J-Dub has a horrible game once again, while one of the Nuggets' best defenders is injured, that is going to be very disappointing to see for sure. So right now, all the signs is facing towards an OKC win. But what do you think? Do you think the Thunder got pulled off? Do you think the Nuggets' experience are going to be able to elevate them to a win? What's your thoughts?
I think that realistically speaking, with the home court advantage and Aaron Gordon probably being out, OKC really doesn't have an excuse not to win this game. But I would not be shocked if the Nuggets pulled the upset because of their championship experience, and they've had like more playoff experience in general. I will say this about OKC. I do be a little bit concerned for them because it just seems like they haven't necessarily been playing like they were in the regular season. Regular season, they were dominating throughout. This series, they're barely even getting through. And ultimately, obviously, if they do get the job done, barely getting it done is still getting it done. But the inconsistency and the up and down trends has me a little bit concerned for them, whether it's this game or the next round. But at the end of the day, I do pick OKC to win at home, and Aaron Gordon likely not playing will also be a crucial factor for this game.
Yeah, I think OKC will win, but I could definitely see Jokic and Murray going off once again, having these generational games and be able to win Game 7. I know that Jokic is amazing during closeout games. He usually has incredible stats in regards to that. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Nuggets win, is basically what I'm saying. But yeah, all the signs are saying that the Thunder are going to win it. But yeah, my concerns are like everybody except Shea. Like we know Shea will get his 30 points, but will Jada, show up? Will Chet show up? Um, will Lou Dort make his threes? There's a lot of question marks in regards to that as well, but like it's hard to root against Jokic, but it's also hard to root against like the best team in the league, or they're supposed to be. As you said, they haven't been as dominant as you would think, but yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Thunder as well winning this, but that's gonna be a very exciting game for this Sunday. It's a very early start. I think it's at 2:30 for us. 2:30 p.m.
At 2:30. Let me see.
It's early. I know that it's not a night game. Did you ever find out whether or not it's at 2:30? The game.
Yeah, so it's actually at 12:30.
12:30.
It's 3. Yeah, so it's 3:30 in the East Coast, 12:30 for us.
Oh.
So yeah, set your time arrangements right, I guess, if you want to watch it.
I don't know if I'm
Yeah,
busy that time.
but yeah, usually if it's an afternoon game though, it does tend to be 12:30 for us, 3:30 in the East Coast. So just something to keep in mind there. And then if it's like a prime time, then probably like 5:30. Well, depending, like if it's an ABC game, usually it's 12:30 afternoon or 5:30 evening. But anyways, that should be an exciting one. We both predict OKC to win Game 7. Wouldn't be too shocked if Denver won. That being said, we do expect a good one, so look forward to that.
Yeah, for sure.
But shall we? Definitely. But shall we now move on to the next series, being the Wolves and the Warriors?
Yeah, I feel like from here on out, our talks are gonna be a lot shorter because these series just ended a lot shorter. The Nuggets and not Warriors, Nuggets and OKC one was definitely the most exciting, so that's why we had a lot to talk about. But this series, with Steph being injured, uh, yeah, there's not much to talk about, but we'll try our best to talk about something. Starting with Game 4 hoops. What happened?
Yeah, so Game 4, first half was a very close back and forth battle. Warriors were only up by 2 at halftime, and it was looking like a nice close game once again with no Steph playing. However, in the third, the Wolves had completely took over. They went up by as much as 21, and then came garbage time where the Wolves kind of let loose a little bit and they allowed the Warriors to make things interesting. Ultimately, the Wolves were still able to hang on for a 7-point win, 117 to 110. Key contributors for the Wolves were Randle with 31 points, Ant was 30, Nikhil Alexander Walker with 13, Conley was 11, and Jaden McDaniels was 10. For the Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga came up big again with 23 points. Jimmy Butler did not show up, unfortunately. He only had 14 points. Draymond Green also had 14. Buddy Hield had 13. And Pods had 11. So this was one of those games where first half was really close. Second half, not so much. And so the Wolves were able to go up 3-1 with a chance to close out the series at home for Game 5. So Emil, what were your thoughts on Game 4 between the Wolves and the Warriors?
My biggest thought, the biggest thing I was wondering is where did playoff Jimmy go? Right, he only had, what was it, 13 points, 14 points in this game? 14,
14.
right? Only
Yeah.
had 9 shots. Pod shot more than him. Draymond Green, of all people, shot more than him. Buddy Hield shot more than him. He is supposed to be playoff Jimmy. The reason why the Warriors got this man is for situations like this where Steph isn't there to save the day, They need someone else to come through in order to lead the team to a victory. And he wasn't there. He only had 14 points. He needed to be a lot more aggressive. He needed to play like what he has been playing at, or he needs to play like former playoff Jimmy, the playoff Jimmy that was able to take the Heat to the finals, the playoff Jimmy that was able to defeat the Bucks in the first round as an eighth seed. Being an eighth seed going to the conference finals, like this is what they paid him for, and he's not showing up, which is very disappointing. How did you get less points than Kuminga of all people? Like that's crazy. You're Jimmy Butler. You're supposed to be the playoff riser, and you failed. This was such a disappointing game for him. But yeah, shout out to the Timberwolves, especially Randle and Ant for getting 30 pieces each. That was great. Randle continuing to prove the world wrong, especially me. I was very doubtful of his ability. Like, Randle doesn't seem like the guy that could be a contributor to a finals team. I never really thought of him like that, but now, there's a huge chance that he could be that this year. But I guess we'll see. That they got one more series to go. But yeah, let's now talk about Game 5, which, spoiler alert, the Warriors couldn't win this one.
Yeah. So the Warriors had a super brief 1 point lead early in the first, but the Timberwolves just straight up dominated the rest of the way. They led by as much as 25 points at one point in this game. Warriors tried to make a comeback attempt late, and they got to within 11 with 4 minutes left, but ultimately it was too little too late, as the Wolves would counter every Warriors basket late with a basket of their own every time they scored. And so the Timberwolves were able to get the job done with pretty much no sweat. For the Wolves, key contributors were Randle with 29 points, Ant was 22, Gobert was 17, Conley was 16, and McDaniels was 14. For the Warriors, Pods led the way with 28. Kuminga once again showed up big with 26 points. Jimmy had 17 points, Moody had 12, and Green had 10. So the Timberwolves were able to beat the Steph-less Warriors 4-1 en route to their second straight Western Conference Finals appearance. So shout out to Minnesota for advancing the conference finals once again.
Yeah, shout out to them. Even if Steph was playing, I thought that Minnesota was gonna beat them and move on to the Western Conference Finals. So it's unfortunate that they had to win without Steph. I'm sure they would have loved to defeat the team while Steph was playing. But yeah, shout out to the Timberwolves for getting it done. Shout out to Gobert. Closing game Gobert. Apparently he has his best games when it matters the most. Of course, he had that monster 24-22 game, something like that, against the Lakers in Game 5. In Game 5 of this game, he had 17 points, which I guess isn't crazy, but for him, it's good. 17-8 is phenomenal for Gobert. Not so phenomenal for Jimmy Butler only having 17. Again, he is playoff Jimmy, but he's playing like playoff P out there. A pandemic P is like the levels of play he's playing. Even though 17 is better than his last game, 14, he should be getting 30 points. They need someone to score besides Kuminga, who is phenomenal scoring wise off the bench, but defensively he wasn't the best. But yeah, Jimmy Butler was just very disappointing. It kind of making me feel validated. I kind of thought playoff Jimmy was kind of a fluke, even though he did go to the finals twice with the Heat. But I always thought he was overrated. I always thought people, treated him like a god out there, god amongst men. But in reality, he is just older now. He isn't the same player that he used to be. He hasn't been uh, playoff Jimmy for a few years now. Last year he was injured the entire postseason. We didn't get to see playoff Jimmy last year, and we did not get to see playoff Jimmy this year. So that sucks for the Warriors since they traded for this guy, they extended him. The Jimmy really wanted his money, he got it, and it's looking like a fleece. He's getting his money, and now he's not providing for the team. So, if I was a Warriors fan, I'd be livid. Like we got or they got 2 more years of this old ass core with Curry, Draymond, and Jimmy Butler. This core is not winning anything anytime soon. I don't think so. They're just getting older, and I have a lot of faith in Steph, but I don't have a lot of faith in Jimmy Butler. So, yeah. Disappointing way for the Warriors season to end, but shout out to the Timberwolves. We were both rooting for them after they defeated our Lakers, in the first round. And now it's either going to be Timberwolves versus Nuggets or Timberwolves versus OKC. Do you think the Timberwolves would be able to defeat either team to make it to the finals? Do you think they could be one of the team? Do you think they'll be bounced in the Western Conference Finals? Like, what do you think? Let's try to predict both scenarios, either them versus the Nuggets or them versus the Thunder.
I honestly think they could beat either of these teams. Now, if it is against Denver, I'd be more confident, obviously. I think against OKC, it's a little bit more of like a toss up because, like, I don't know for sure who would be like winning. Supposedly, OKC should be the better team, but they have been showing a lot of their vulnerabilities this round, which is why I'm not fully confident in them. And that would leave the door open to the Wolves, and I wouldn't be shocked if they did win that series. That being said, I would say if it was the Wolves and the Nuggets, probably Wolves win in like 6 games, maybe. That would be my guess. Last year they went the lengths to 7 games. I don't know if they go 7 again this year. I would say 6 if I were to make a prediction. As far as OKC goes, I think it would go at least 6, possibly 7. But I'm a little bit torn on who will win that series because I think it can go either way. I will say if it goes 7, then maybe I lean towards OKC winning Game 7 at home. But if the Timberwolves are able to be up 3-2 with a win situation, Game 6 at home, I think I would lean towards them. So honestly, I think that the Thunder and Timberwolves would be a little bit harder for me to predict versus the Thunder and Nuggets. I mean, with Wolves and the Nuggets, I think I would definitely pick Minnesota in that one.
Yeah, I definitely agree with your Nuggets and Timberwolves take. I think it will be Timberwolves in 6. I feel like the Nuggets are just going to be so tired after this series, with their team being a bit older than the Thunder and kind of older than the Timberwolves. I think they're going to be a bit tired going into that series. And I believe it'll be shorter than last year. So I'll say Timberwolves in 6 for that one. And for OKC, if they face OKC, I will still take OKC, but in 7. I think it'll be a long series. I don't think it'll be as easy as you would think before this playoff started. The Thunder doesn't look as dominant as before, but they do have a lot of great defenders in the guard position with Caruso, with Dort. Even Shea could go out there and defend pretty well. So that will definitely slow down. But I just now thinking about it, like, who's gonna slow down? I can't believe I'm saying this. Who's gonna slow down Randle? Because Randle's gonna be by far the strongest guy on the court. He's gonna power through. Definitely Chet, maybe Hartenstein. J-Dub's a good defender. impressively good against like centers. But will he be able to slow down Randle? I don't know. I don't know if uh, they are able to slow him down. So yeah, it's gonna be a long series. It's definitely gonna be a long series, but I'm gonna still go with OKC in 7. As much as I think out of those 3 teams, I do want Minnesota to go through the finals. That's tough. I really want the Nuggets to go through, especially since they have Russ, and I want him to win a ring. But if Ant wins a ring, that'd be so cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I agree. Yeah, honestly, I would be cool with any of these 3 teams, but my number one option would be the Timberwolves. And then I'd say probably OKC 2, Denver 3, honestly. But I wouldn't mind any of these teams, quite honestly. Like really after Warriors and the Celtics loss, I'm pretty neutral to be honest, but I do have my preferences. And honestly, Timberwolves, one of the teams at the top. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to see how the Timberwolves will match up with the Thunder if they advance.
And I can't wait to find out.
My bad. If the Thunder advances, because Minnesota did advance already.
Yeah, I get you. I get you.
Yeah.
I get you. But yeah, that's our thoughts on the Western Conference. Now let's move on to the Eastern Conference, and this series will probably go by fast as well since it ended pretty quickly. But we're gonna talk about Cavs versus Pacers, and yeah, what a disappointing way to end a season for the Cavs with them having such an amazing, perfect regular season just to lose horribly against the Pacers in the second round. There were injuries involved for this one for sure, but yeah, let's break down these games starting with game 4 hoops. What happened?
Yeah, so game 4 was ugly. So the Pacers dominated the game from start to finish. They never trailed and they led by as much as 44 at one point. This was an absolutely embarrassing showing for the Cavs in a game that was really a must win for them to stay alive. And clearly they did not know that because they were just flat out dominated from start to finish, and it just seemed like they didn't know they had a game to play. Anyways, um, Pacers had very good key contributions, balance from the team. Siakam put up 21, Turner and Toppin put up 20 each. Shepard put up 14, McConnell put up 13, Neesmith put up 12, and Tyrese put up 11. Tyrese didn't even have to do much, and they still dominated badly. Anyways, for the Cavs, not as much. A few guys tried. Garland put up 21, Okoro put up 13, Mitchell only put up 12, so that wasn't going to cut it. Struess put up 11, Hyson put up 11, and Mobley put up 10. Overall, this was just a flat out horrible performance by the Cavs, and now they see themselves with their season on the line if they did not win 3 straight. So yeah, Memo, what were your thoughts on this game 4 between Cavs and the Pacers?
Well, yeah, as you mentioned, I believe, this was a very embarrassing loss. This is a must win for the Cavs, and it seemed like a lot of them didn't show up. Um, and a lot went wrong, honestly. Not only do they have players playing through injury, but Donovan Mitchell hurt his left ankle, I believe, during like halftime. So he ended up not playing the rest of the game. That's why he only had 12 points, which is very unfortunate. But by that time, they were already getting blown out, so might as well take him out. Jared Allen, though, I don't think he has an excuse. I don't think he's playing through injury. At least I don't know if he was, but he played awful. He had only 2 points, 2 rebounds. That's it. Like, what are we doing? So yeah, definitely some very disappointing performances on the Cavs side of things. Shout out Garland, playing through injury, had those 21 points, so at least he tried out there. But yeah, this was a blow up. This was an embarrassing loss, and the only interesting thing that happened in this game was the Benedict Mathurin and Hunter altercation where Mathurin kind of jabbed at Hunter for like no reason. Well, they've been beefing all series, but yeah, Benedict like just threw a fist at his chest or maybe balls. It looked low. It looked low. And then seconds later, Hunter approached him and just pushed him to the ground. Benedict Mathurin ended up getting ejected because it was a close fist, I believe. And Hunter did this like big brain emote as if he was gonna do something. They were losing by 10 at that point and ended up getting blown out. And I believe Hunter ended up not scoring a single bucket since that altercation. So embarrassing. But yeah, this was an awful loss for them in Game 4, and safe to say things don't really change in Game 5, where it's another bad loss for the Cavs.
Yeah, it was tough.
But yeah, in Game 5 over here, again, the team is hobbled up, right? They are playing through injuries. At one point, Evan Mobley was out, Garland was out, Hunter was out. Now, going into this game, Donovan Mitchell has a left ankle injury. They started well. But unfortunately, they couldn't pull it off. They couldn't.
Yeah. So Cavs started off the game firing. They went up by as much as 19 in the second. But in the third quarter, Pacers just came out firing hot and went up by as much as 12 at one point. In the fourth quarter, the Cavs didn't show no quit, and they pulled to within one on several occasions. It was a 1 point game with 5 minutes left, and crucial moment came with 1:49 left in the game when Nesmith fouled Mitchell on a three. Spida goes to the line to shoot 3 free throws, but he missed all 3 of them. That was tough. Lead could have been cut to 3, but instead it was still a 6 point game. Mitchell later makes a 3 to get the Cavs to within 3. Ultimately, the Pacers pulled away late as they kept on making baskets while the Cavs couldn't. So this was a really tough way for the Cavs season to end after having such a promising regular season, and even at points looked like they maybe could have got broken the 73-9 record, even though that was a bit of a crazy long shot, but still had a chance, looked like, for a little bit. Anyways, for the Pacers, top contributors, Tyrese had a great game, 31 points. Siakam had 21. Nembhard had 18. Nesmith had 13. And Turner had 10. For the Cavs, Mitchell had 35. Mobley had 24. Hunter had 12. And Garland had 11. So Cavs tried their best to extend the series, but unfortunately, they just cannot hold on to the Pacers' hot shooting. And Pacers, once again, was another crazy comeback in the playoffs. So shout out to them. This Pacers team looks really good this season. So who knows? I wouldn't be shocked if they somehow won it all, honestly, based on how they've been playing. So yeah, impressive win for the Pacers. Impressive series. Another 4-1 win for them. And closing it, closing it in 5 again. And tough break for the Cavs. So yeah, unfortunately, Cavs' promising season comes to an end early, and the Pacers make their second straight Eastern Conference Finals appearance. So shout out to them.
Yeah, shout out to them. I don't think a lot of people expected for this to be the outcome. I definitely did not, seeing how the Cavs not only were great in the regular season, but they swept in the first round. So they were looking amazing, and then injuries did play a part in this for sure, but still, it was still a very disappointing series for the Cavs. And there's a lot of question marks on what they're going to be doing in the future. But yeah, I guess, yeah, shout out to the Pacers. Shout out to Tyrese Haliburton for getting those 31 points, hitting some crazy deep threes to help cut the lead early on in the game. He looked great out there. Jared Allen did not look great once again, only 9 points, 4 rebounds. But Max Strus was even worse. He had 0 points after shooting 9 times, and he was the one that in the team like group chat was saying, if you're not here to, if you don't believe in us winning or something like this, like if you don't want to come through, then don't show up to work. And it looked like he didn't even show up to work at all himself. He got 0 points. Like he didn't show up whatsoever. So that was definitely an embarrassing look for him. But yeah, disappointing is all I have to say. It's a very disappointing season or way to end for the season. This was a great season for the Cavs. An incredible season, by far their best season since losing LeBron. But yeah, just a horrible way to end it. But shout out to the Pacers. That I forgot to mention this, but Finch, the coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves, had a really great quote after their win, where he said that there are teams that are Western Conference Finals bound, and then there are teams that just so happen to make it to the Western Conference. And the fact that both of those teams were able to make the Western Conference Finals twice basically shows that they didn't just so happen to make it, right? They earned it both times. They were the better teams in each series, and they earned the right to be in the situations that they're at. So shout out to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Shout out to the Pacers. Yeah, great series. Great series.
Yeah, definitely. And both of those two teams making it back to the conference finals when you would think that it would have been the Celtics, which obviously I know injuries were not playing factor, but yeah, shout out to them. Two out of the four teams from last year's conference finals return, and one from each conference.
Yeah. And it's crazy too because, like I kept saying, it's the Celtics and the Cavs going to be in the conference finals, and one of them is for sure going to be in the finals. And now that's not going to happen, especially after this Knicks and Celtics series, which just wrapped up today, as of our recording. We'll break that game down, but first, Hoops, would you like to break down Game 4 of Celtics versus Knicks?
Yeah, so game four, I think it's safe to say that was a game where things came to a change. And this is how it started. So Celtics dominated for most of the first half. They led by as much as 14 at one point. They led by 11 after the first, after the Knicks had a very brief 1 point lead late in the first. But aside from that, like Celtics led for entire first half. And as mentioned, went up by as much as 14 at one point. The Knicks had a big third quarter to storm back into the game, outscored the Celtics 37 to 23 in the third, and they took a 3 point lead heading into the fourth. So the fourth quarter started off pretty good, and it was a back and forth game. It was about 3 minutes remaining, though. However, that's when total shift happened. Tatum landed awkwardly while trying to fight for the ball off a turnover, and he had to be carried off the court and later rode out on a wheelchair. And it was later determined that he had an Achilles injury, which is very unfortunate. Um, Now, yeah, obviously you do not ever want to see a player get injured, especially a key contributor or star like that. Um, and I will say this, most of the people will probably blame this game on Tatum's injury. Me personally, I think that they were going to lose this game anyway because the Celtics were down by 7 with 3 minutes remaining. And yes, they still could have made a comeback there, but I think that they were not going to. The Knicks just looked determined to win this game, honestly. And um, yeah, I mean, that third quarter alone, they were impressive. They went on that run. And then the fourth quarter, the Knicks looked like more the same and still finding a way to build on their lead. And ultimately, that they did. And so after Tatum went down, The Knicks pretty much just pulled away. Celtics tried their best to keep it within striking range, but it was not meant to be. So the Knicks got game four was a 121 to 113 win to take a 3-1 series lead. Key contributors for the Knicks were Jalen Brunson with 39 points, Cat and Bridges had 23 each, OG had 20. For the Celtics, Jayson Tatum had a really great game, 42 points, Derek White had 23, Jalen Brown had 20, and Peyton Pritchard had 12. So the Knicks go up 3-1 with a chance to close things out game 5 in Boston.
Yeah. Starters. Prayers to Jayson Tatum. I hope he recovers well. It's very unfortunate how a man like him, who is basically an Iron Man, he doesn't really miss games at all, especially in the playoffs. Now might not play at all next season due to an Achilles injury that he uh, got in this game. As you mentioned, I think the Knicks, regardless, were gonna win this game, even though Tatum was on fire. He had 42 points, uh, but I think when OG got the steal and made that breakaway dunk, I think they were up by 9 at that point. So with not a lot of minutes back left, enough minutes to come back, but the Knicks were on fire at that point. So yeah, as you said, I don't think the Celtics would have won the game even if he was on the court. But yeah, it does suck. Like, although it's fuck Boston all day, every day, and I am not a Jayson Tatum fan whatsoever. I clown the guy whenever I get the chance to. He is a human after all. He is a human at the end of the day. So seeing him hurt in the wheelchair is such a sad thing to see, and very unfortunate how things turned out. Yeah, it just sucked seeing him get injured like that. It's such a serious injury at that as well. So I hope he recovers well. Now there's a lot of question marks for the Celtics next season. The East is looking wide open. But yeah, that was game four. Unfortunate loss for Celtics fans, not only because they lost the game, but they lost Jayson Tatum. With that said, though, even though Jayson Tatum didn't play in game five, the Celtics had a surprisingly impressive victory in this one, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't even know what happened this game. I mean, first half, Knicks looked like they were gonna do their job and get the job done in 5, perhaps. They were up by, well, it wasn't really back and forth first quarter. They were only up by 2, but at one point in the second, they were up by 9. Ultimately, Celtics were able to tie the game at halftime, and it was a back and forth close game. But then in the third quarter, Celtics just absolutely dominated the Knicks, outscoring them by 15, 32 to 17. And then in the fourth, they outscored them by 10. And ultimately, the Celtics were up by as much as 28 points and ultimately winning by 25 with a score of 127 to 102. And in Tatum's absence, key guys showing up. Derek White was 34 points. Jalen Brown was 26 points. Peyton Pritchard was 17 points. Drew Holiday was 14. Al Horford was 12. And Luke Cornett had a really nice game. 10 points, 5 for 5 shooting, 9 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, 7 blocks. So that was like a legacy Luke Cornett game. And key contributors showing up was the reason why Celtics were able to get that win at home to live and see another day. For the Knicks, not as much of a good scoring contribution spread throughout the team, but their main guys you expect did get the job done. Josh Hart put up 24, Jalen Brunson put up 22, Cat put up 19, and Miles McBride put up 11. So that was just a game where I feel like the Knicks just got totally caught off guard. They thought they were going to probably have it easy with Tatum out, not so fast. The Celtics showed why they are one of the deeper teams in the league and why they're the defending champions, and their balanced scoring helped them get over the top. So the Celtics lived to breathe another day, and that extended the series to a game six in New York.
Yeah, I don't have much notes for this one. This was just a surprisingly impressive win for the Celtics, where players like Derek White showed out. He made those 7 threes which were crucial for sure. Cornette with those 7 blocks. He almost had a triple double in a way with blocks. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocks. So yeah, as you said, a legacy game for Cornette. Disappointing game for Bridges, 4 of 14 from the field. OG was even worse, 1 of 12 from the field. So that's disappointing on that end. I guess the Knicks weren't ready, right? They were shocked that they thought it was gonna be easy, but they are the reigning champs after all. The Finals MVP is still on the floor, so yeah, impressive win for the Celtics there. Unfortunately for them, their reign came to an end in Game 6 uh, after a surprising loss for the Knicks. They finally locked in and blew out the Celtics to finish the series. And yeah, it wasn't like, at least it didn't feel like it was close at all throughout this entire game. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Game 6?
Yeah, I feel like Game Six is more of how we thought things should have went once Tatum went down. I mean, as you mentioned, Knicks pretty much finally locked in, and that they did. So first quarter was shockingly close. Um, the Knicks were only up by 6, 26-20 at the end of the first, and it looked like shit. Is it going to be another shockingly competitive game despite Tatum being out? Not so fast. So Celtics had a super brief 1 point lead early, but after that very close and shockingly competitive first quarter, the Knicks just completely took over in a second, outscoring the Celtics 38-17, and they were up by 27 at halftime. And in the third quarter, they continued to push that lead. And so did they do in the fourth quarter. Knicks ultimately led by as much as 41 at one point, and that was when the Celtics they pretty much put in their bench unit. Meanwhile, typical Tom Thibodeau keeping in the starters when the game was clearly over. It's like, what are you doing, man? I have no idea. But anyways, the only guy that really showed up for the Celtics was Jaylen Brown. On top of that, he fouled out with like 15 minutes left in the game. So tough break for the Celtics there. Um, their season ended for the worst. Anyways, for yeah, aside from for the Knicks, great balanced scoring, and their starters absolutely got the job done. Brunson and OG had 23 points each. Bridges had 22 points. Cat had 21 points. Hart had 10 points, and McBride also had 10 points. For the Celtics, not so much contributions on their side. Jaylen Brown was the only one that really showed up with 20 points himself. Peyton Pritchard scored 11. Al Horford scored 10. Those were the only guys that reached double digits. Derek White did not show up. He only put up 8 points on 3 of 11 shooting, 2 of 8 from 3. Not very good. And he was a minus 45, which is the worst on the team. That is horrible. And then Luke Cornett proving how last game was a fluke. Because this game, he did absolutely nothing. 5 points. Only shot 3 field goals. Made 2 of 3. Not bad there. But this time he only had 5 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block. So this is okay, I guess, but nothing compared to the last game. He also had 2 turnovers and 2 fouls, and actually a little bit better than some of the other guys, but still really bad. Minus 16. So yeah, there's that. Celtics just did not show up this game and kind of made more people, I guess, of the expected that the Celtics were gonna fold once Tatum went down. So that being said, the Celtics season comes to an end. The Knicks win 4-2. Um, we just want to, of course, make it clear again that we are all hoping that Jayson Tatum is good and has a speedy recovery, comes back, and will still have a good career. That being said, um, fuck Boston. Glad they're out of the playoffs and glad they're not going to repeat. And Celtics fans, um, don't even try thinking of crying over injuries because yes, it was a crucial injury and you guys did have injuries, but let's be real. Last year, aside from the Mavs, every single opponent you played had an injured superstar. So if there's any team that has room to talk about injuries, you guys are not one of them. And yeah, so that's all I really gotta say. So now I am glad that Warriors are out, Celtics are out. I'm pretty much cool with any of the remaining teams now. Now that being said, who would I like to see win the championship? Personally, I think that I want to see the Timberwolves win it the most because I think it'd be cool to see Ant win. Now, finals matchup, I think that the Knicks Timberwolves versus Knicks matchup would be really cool. I mean, if you think about it, they just made a trade last season, off season. So then you get to see Cat versus his former team, Randall versus his former team. I think that would be pretty fun. And then practically whoever that wins that matchup, I guess you can say at least for the meantime, tactically won the trade. I mean, long term could speak volumes to change the narrative, but if it was a head to head, then that speaks a lot of volumes there. So I'd say if I were to rank, honestly, I would say I would want the Timberwolves to win it the most. But then that's when it comes to like trickiness because I feel like low key, I kind of want to see OKC win it second because they've never won a championship in their history. But at the same time, like I really like this Knicks team and I really wouldn't mind seeing them win either, especially since it's been such a long time since they won. And as far as the Pacers go, I wouldn't mind seeing them win either because I don't they haven't won a championship either and it'd be really cool to see Tyrese win a championship, especially after he was voted quote unquote most overrated player in the league by peers. If he wins the championship, he gets the last laugh. And I would love to see that honestly. So quite honestly, like no matter who wins, it's a guarantee that someone I like is gonna win a championship. So I'm pretty much sleeping easy now, especially that Boston and Golden State are out. Oh, and I forgot to bring up Nuggets because they're technically still in it still. Um, I wouldn't mind seeing Joker win his second championship. Honestly, that would be cool. I mean, add more to his resume. So honestly, all five of these teams remaining, I would be happy for any of them that wins. That being said, Memo, I spoke my thoughts on who I would like to see win the championship. Who would you like to see win the championship?
Uh, if it's fine with you, let me backtrack a little bit because I didn't give my thoughts on what was it, Game 6 of the Celtics Knicks series. Um,
Oh yeah.
which like I really wanted to add on to what you were saying about how Celtics fans shouldn't be crying because yeah, not only did they win their chip last year due to injuries, but this they could have moved on to the next round this year if they played better in their home games. Like they lost those two home games. The Knicks didn't win them. The Celtics lost those two home games due to settling for threes, due to horrible clutch plays from the Celtics. If the Celtics were able to win those two games, um, they would have been what 3-1 by the time Jayson Tatum was injured, so they just needed one more. They would have needed one more win to move on to the next round, and that could have definitely happened if they took care of those home games. So you can't. The Celtics fans can't say they solely lost this series due to injury, which it was not the case. The Knicks really proved the world wrong. Everybody thought the Knicks were going to lose the series. I thought they were going to lose in 5. That was my bold take, and I guess it was super bold because that was extremely wrong. It ended up being Celtics losing in 6. So, yeah, that's basically all I wanted to say about that. One more thing, Drew Holiday was definitely very disappointing. 1 of 8 from the field, only 4 points. As you mentioned, Cornette had a bad game after having a good game in the last game. They started him instead of Porzingis because Porzingis has been sick and horrible on the court. So they thought Cornette would be a good move, and he ended up freezing in the limelight. So, yeah, as you said, only Jaylen Brown showed up for this game, and he ended up fouling out in the third. So, yeah, impressive Knicks win. Great contributions from the starters, of course. Tibbs, relax with the amount of minutes for the starters, please, because I guess I'll give my take on who I want to see win the most, and I really want to see the Knicks win the most. So basically, what I'm saying here is that I do believe the Knicks will beat the Pacers. If we kind of want to throw in our predictions for the Eastern Conference Finals here, I think the Knicks will beat the Pacers, even though every time I root against the Pacers, they always make me feel like a dumbass because they always win. But this time, I do think the Knicks will beat the Pacers. I think the Pacers will for sure lose this time. And I'll say maybe in 6. It'll be a longer series, but I don't think it'll reach 7. So I'm going to say Knicks in 6. And when you were talking about, all the teams that you wanted to see win and your points, it to me it seemed like you were leaning more towards the Knicks over the Pacers.
Yeah, I would say I would prefer to see the Knicks win over the Pacers. I will admit, if I were to pick a winner of that series, I'm a little bit like kind of unsure, honestly, because Pacers have been looking like so sneaky good, impressive this playoff run. The Knicks have been like really good, also a little bit up and down here and there. Um, Personally, I feel like if Tatum did not go down, I think there is a good chance they still win this series. I don't know if it would have been 6 or if they would have stole Game 7 on the road, but it definitely would have been a more of a sweat than like a 38-point win, obviously. I think there was a good chance they still could have won. But that being said, I'm actually a little bit like torn and back and forth who I really think is going to win this series because I think it can go either way. But I think I'll go as my gut and pick the Knicks. And if I were to pick how many games, I'd say probably 6 as well, honestly. I wouldn't be shocked if it went to the full distance, but I feel like the Knicks should be the better team and they should win it in 6. But I'm just going to go ahead and say Knicks win in 6.
Yeah, it's hard to pick because both teams are very deep. I think Cat is definitely going to be a huge contributor because he will for sure be the biggest guy on the court. I don't think Miles Turner will be able to slow him down at all. So if Cat has a great series, then I think for sure the Knicks will win. But yeah, then again, the Pacers have great defenders to handle Brunson, but the Knicks are so deep. Mikal could go off, OG could go off, so it's tough to say. But I will say Knicks in 6, and as I mentioned, like just right now, I do want the Knicks to win the finals this year. It would be cool to see Minnesota win their first chip, OKC win their first chip. Pacers don't have a chip, right? Um,
I don't think they do. So, that's actually pretty cool too. There is a 75% chance, well, barring what happens with Denver, there is a 75% chance that a team that does not have a championship wins their first championship. So I think that's pretty cool, honestly. And even for the Knicks, they have won in the past, but they haven't won in such a long time, like 40 years, I
the
think, like
Wolf Frazier
70s or 80s. I
days.
think, yeah, long time. So I think like whoever wins, really cool. It's either gonna be first ring in a long time or first ring ever.
Yeah,
So
like it's been a long time since they've been in the conference finals to begin with. Like, is hasn't it been like,
yeah,
was it 2000 or am I overshooting that? 2000
it,
since they were
I think
in
it
the
was when.
conference finals.
Yeah, I think they were coincidentally also playing against the Pacers that year,
Yeah, which
like
makes
when
this
Reggie
upcoming series so
Reggie
exciting.
Miller.
They have their past history from last year. They have the story history of the Pacers and Knicks battles from back in the day. So yeah, this upcoming series is gonna be fun and entertaining. I guess let's do this. Let's rank the five remaining teams that are still there from uh, who you want to see win the most to who you want to see win the least.
All right, I would say this then. I think I would put Timberwolves number one, Knicks number two, Thunder number three, and then those two teams I'm kind of like back and forth on. I'm gonna say this. Overall in history, I like the Nuggets better than the Pacers. But since they did win a championship not long ago, and the Pacers have not won in a long time, maybe Pacers 4, then Nuggets 5, honestly. Just for that reason. But like those two are interchangeable. But I think like the top three is pretty much a set order for me. I think, yeah, honestly. So yeah, I would say probably if I were to say order, I would say Timberwolves 1, Knicks 2, Thunder 3, Pacers 4, Nuggets 5. So what would be your order?
Knicks won, not only because I like the team, but I can't wait to see the fan reaction for that one. They're gonna cause another 9/11. Just watch. Um, then I'll go with the Timberwolves for second. I'll actually say the Nuggets for third. Because I really like the Nuggets. I like Jokic. I want his resume to improve with another trophy. And of course, I'm a huge Russell Westbrook fan. I've talked about this. I want him to win a ring. So, him being able to win while still being a contributor. Like, he's not a star anymore, but he if he wins the ring, you can't say he didn't contribute. So, Nuggets third, OKC fourth, Pacers fifth. That's my ranking.
Okay, fair enough. I think that is I mean, somewhat similar-ish in a way. It was like a different sequence. So, yeah, not bad. Safe to say, I think that Celtics and Warriors getting knocked out definitely makes us rest so much easier. Like, I am so glad those two teams are gone. Like,
Same.
quite honestly, heading into the playoffs, the only teams that I didn't really want were Celtics, Warriors, and Clippers. And thankfully, all of them are gone. I will say this though, now that we see how open it is, I think it just makes it way more frustrating that the Lakers had to fold so early, man. Because this could have been our golden opportunity to winning another championship, man. Oh,
I don't think they
but
would have beat
hopefully,
OKC though.
I mean, probably not. But OKC is not looking unbeatable by any means. So I literally wouldn't have been shocked if they did win, honestly. But yeah, like hopefully Lakers have a good offseason, get a center, be back next year for better position. But yeah, honestly, I think it'll be a fun conference finals to watch, and definitely will be fun to not have any hated teams there, so we can enjoy more regardless of the result.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That's for sure. But I guess that's our coverage on all of the series in the second round. And we have one bit of news to go over before we end things off. And this was huge. This was actually a huge shock around the NBA world, which is the Mavs winning the NBA draft lottery. The Mavericks land the number one overall pick with 1.8% odds, the fourth largest underdog to win the annual drawing since it was initiated in 1985. And of course, with the Mavs winning the draft lottery, they're most likely they would be so stupid if they don't get Cooper Flag. I wouldn't be surprised if Nico Harrison says no and find some like random tall dude that plays some defense. But no, they're gonna get Cooper Flag, and the NBA world is furious. I feel like I wasn't as furious as I should have been, but I also think that's because I'm a Lakers fan, so I wasn't really as hurt as other fans in the NBA when the Luka trade happened, right? And like the entire NBA world was furious seeing Nico Harrison not talk to any other teams but trade Luka to the Lakers and ruin the Mavs, or we thought ruined the Mavs' future in the long run. And to see him do such a stupid a move by trading Luka and ended up getting rewarded by getting the first pick in the draft. I can see why other fan bases are upset. I'm happy for Mavs fans though. Like I think their season was so horrible that they needed a win. So that's why I'm not that mad over this, but I know a lot of people are. Are you super upset about what happened?
I wouldn't say that I'm upset about it, but I will say like I'm beyond shocked and like mindless. Like how did this happen? And like it also makes you wonder like did the NBA have something behind all this? Did they rig the draft lottery? Because the chances were so low that they get would win the number one, and they somehow did it, which is crazy. Now, seems like a long shot, but if they somehow did pass on Cooper Flag, that would be really hilarious. Imagine they let him land in San Antonio. Oh my! I mean, I wouldn't. I'm not gonna lie. I would have quite honestly probably rather see him in San Antonio because I think it would
Same.
be such a fun him and Wemby. That would be scary for years to come. I'll
But
say this though.
part of me
Yeah.
hopes the Mavs do get Cooper Flag so that Nico Harrison can trade him for Rui Hachimura, since we all know Nico's working for us. So
True,
hopefully
true, true.
that happens and the Lakers get a Cooper Flag.
Yeah. I will say this though. The fact that a damn draft lottery luck has some people saying that this is the Mavs plan all along and trying to make Nico Harrison look better is quite honestly really stupid to me because that does not
That is
change how dumb of a trade that
stupid.
was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
But like
kind of getting convinced by the conspiracy theories going around how like teams that would trade to help a LeBron team will get like a first round pick after. Like the more recent example was when the Lakers got AD from the trade, and then soon after the Pelicans got the first pick and got Zion Williams right after. And now that history repeats itself, the Lakers get Luka Doncic, and the Mavs ended up getting the first seed after trading away Luka Doncic. So it's very interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if that is true, but it is a conspiracy theory at the end of the day.
Yeah, there was another one about like trade your superstar to LA, you get number one pick. Like for example, 2011, Hornets traded Chris Paul to LA, and then they got number one. They took AD, and then the two you said, obviously, Pelicans trade AD to LA, get number one pick, get Zion, and then Mavs trade Luca to LA, get number one pick, and gonna get Flag. So yeah, it's crazy how those trends be working. Um, yeah, but that was like really crazy. I saw one thing about like the Bulls or something like like because didn't what did they have like a 12 pick or something like that? So they were saying something like the for example when Josh Giddey made the half court shot against the Lakers, the Bulls won, but at what cost?
That came to bite them in the ass. I was happy to see it for sure. But yeah, I heard, according to Kenny Beecham, I believe, he said that the odds were very similar between the Bulls and the Mavericks, so they ended up doing a coin flip to in order for team to have 1.8 chances and the other team to have 1.7, and essentially the Mavs ended up winning the coin toss, getting that 0.1% extra, and ended up winning the whole lottery. So if they won the coin flip, or if Josh Giddey didn't make that game-winning half-court shot for the win, there could have been a timeline where the Chicago Bulls would have won. All right, I'm back. I am having a lot of technical difficulties at the moment, so unfortunately, Hoops can't be here for the outro. But overall, it was a pretty good episode, I will say. I think we did a good job covering this second round of games, I guess, if you want to call it, second week of the second round. The second round should be over by the time this episode is out, so it'll be interesting to see how our takes ages. But I guess we'll see. I can't wait for the game 7 on Sunday. I hope I can watch it. I don't know if I'm doing anything that day, but I really hope that I'll be able to check that out. But yeah, very excited for that one for sure. I'm sure Hoops is as well. I'm sure Hoops would love to say goodbye to you all. But yeah, I guess I'll just do that. So thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, subscribe if you're on YouTube. Leave a comment if you're on YouTube. If you're on an audio platform like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave us a 5-star rating and review. That'd be great. Check out our socials. I've been making TikToks this week. They've been doing pretty well, so thank you for those who support that. I gotta make a new one for this Knicks Celtics outcome, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. I'm too tired now. So yeah, I think that's basically it. It was a good time, but I guess we gotta end it here, unfortunately. So we'll see you all next week. Goodbye.